this is what we're gonna use. Okay, I am finishing something real quick from Flip a Clip real quick though. So, yeah. Okay, there it's saved. Now we go into Wattpad. This is different because, this is not StreamYard, so I can't put comments up, which this, yeah, I'll just read them aloud, hopefully. Sorry if I miss it. If I can even, I can't, okay, this always happens. It doesn't work! Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting to close my tabs. That's always why it always lags. Why the fuck do I have like 18 tabs? This is really concerning. I already forgot the number. I don't know which one this is. I don't know if it's 12 or 11. Maybe, I think I did 10. I think there was a 10.5, maybe an 11. I don't remember. And I don't really want to check. Because, yeah. My god, it's restarted us from the whole beginning. Which one were we on? Oh, shit. Pepper, we read Pepper Gathering. Deduce. Okay, so not deduce. Okay, I think we were on Paranomia. Okay, so it's adrenaline or... Oh no, it's the escape one, disbelief. Yep, okay, we got it. Okay. We're on chapter 33, disbelief, which is actually surprisingly enough further than I expected. Whoa. That's crazy. Anyway, can you believe we... Oh, shit. Fuck, I hate this. It restarted me all the way from the beginning. This sucks. It literally forgot. It doesn't save it. Wattpad, why are you being mean to me? Okay, so, last time on Hall 17, Trophy helped OJ escape. And, it was during an experiment, and, basically, Trophy's, hand broke. So, OJ is trying to find a way out. This is their second attempt of escaping. So, if OJ fails, then I think pretty much all hope is lost. And that's what you missed on Hall 17. Clanking, cracking, banging sounds echoed throughout the laboratory, ringing in OJ's ears. The noises blended together so he couldn't tell what it was from the objects he shoved away in a frenzied search. Okay, I need to set up this better because right now this is not really okay. I hope I'm being loud enough. So let's just I do not want to turn this horizontally. No, thank you. Okay. Stop being okay. Well, this will let me hold my phone. Oh my gosh. Fine. Okay, whatever. Crashing into each other, and what was slamming against the door behind him. He pushed it all to the back of his mind, trying to search for something that could help him get out. Keep mixing those up. Bleh. Though all the bothersome noise he made out of the silent... I suck at reading because this is a very bad... Okay. So hopefully I'm being loud enough. Hopefully. I'm just getting into, like, I'm trying to get, like, a better vision for me, even though I have my glasses now. So, it's more difficult to read. Through all the bothersome noise, he made out the slight creaking of the door. He didn't have much time. His searching grew more frantic, pulling out a drawer he already opened, an assortment of weapons. Not necessarily what he needed, but he already depended on Trophy to buy him most of the time. Of his time. He'd just have to get some more himself. He grabbed one of the guns that looked the closest to an actual gun. Knowing that test tube had a tendency to make her weapons look like them, he didn't have much knowledge on them, let alone a license, so he hoped he could figure it out on the spot. I'm gonna hold my phone trying to read this, so yeah. The door slammed. OJ could almost feel the vibrations go through the floor beneath him. He spun around, aiming the gun at the sound. Test Tube stood in front of the once again closed door, fist clenched but unmoving. Her breath matched OJ's. It was heavy mouth breathing, tints of exhaustion sneaking their way in. OJ's hands were so slick with sweat that he had to remind himself to hold the gun carefully. It took him a moment to realize that Test Tube was waiting for him to say something. He had a gun pointed to her. Of course she didn't want to say anything. "Let us out. I'm not playing your game anymore." "This isn't a game, S3. It's science. My name is OJ. Call me by my fucking name." Sorry for the swear. I know this is set for fucking children. I put this stream for children. I am so sorry. I will censor everything. Because I am so sorry. If a child's watching this right now, I am gonna be the source of their... Okay, sorry about that, but if a child's watching this right now, I'm so sorry for the words you're learning right now, but ignore them, never say them in your life. Anyway, I will censor everything because I put this on the kids. I don't know how streams on YouTube work, but they like usually I don't even label my audience because it's either kids or not for kids. I would say this is not for kids, but technically speaking, anyone under the age of 18 is still a kid, so I don't know. Probably being dumb. OJ said, his temper rising until he was full on shouting. "And what part of this was science? Oh yeah, putting people through unnecessary amounts of trauma is equivalent to looking at rocks. What, you think they're the same thing because you like them both? Well, newsflash, buddy, they're not, and they never will be." "Okay, I assure you, there's a perfect explanation to this," Test Tube said quietly, her hand slightly raised. "I know this seems wrong, but... and it really is, but then why'd you do it?" His voice cut through her words, making the presence of every bit of anger inside him known. With every word Test Tube said, he felt more and more inclined to go trigger happy, but he kept himself from doing so. She stayed quiet, trying to... Okay. She stayed quiet, trying to think of an answer, just as OJ's patience was running low. The door slowly opened again. Trophy stood at the entrance, using the frame for support. He observed the situation, eyes settling on the gun in OJ's hand. With the sudden new appearance, Test Tube seemed to know what to say. She took a deep breath, shaky breath in. As I said before, I did it for science. Yeah, sure you did, buddy. Yeah, sure you did, buddy. Yeah, sure you did, buddy. Oh my god. I know that doesn't make sense to you, but I could show you what I mean. I never explained this to you, or any of the other subjects for that matter. But Trophy and I made a deal. Trophy tensed at the mention of his name. He helps me with my work, I help him out. While I originally only needed one person, I'll make an offer. I'll stretch my own rules a little, and you get to learn every little thing about this experiment. OJ stared at Test Tube, astounded. You really think I'm going to accept that? Throwing away the key to my own cage just to know why I've been put there instead of just unlocking it? I don't know what happened between you and Trophy, but from the looks of it, you're the only one truly benefiting because, and no offense to you, Trophy, but he looks miserable. You really think I want that? Test tube thought through her answer again, not wanting to say the wrong thing to OJ, not when she was at gunpoint. No, I don't think you'd want it, but you'd prefer it over what I did last time. You went out of line, wouldn't you? He froze, almost dropping the gun. He knew exactly what she meant, and he remembered it too. That sight was burned into his mind permanently. She really had the audacity to use something like that as a threat, huh? But it was working. Even if OJ didn't let it show, he tried his best to shake it off. You forgot who's at gunpoint here, OJ said. His posture slightly his posture slightly said, fixing his posture slightly. Okay, that makes more sense. Testa flinched at the reminder, but her facial expression went back to calm and collected. After a second, she was creepily good at hiding her emotions. It's not like she didn't have plenty of practice, though. What's shooting me going to do? Test tube asked slyly, taking a step forward. OJ blinked, confused. It'll kill you. We'll find a way out without you, and all of this will be for nothing. But can't I just come back? MePhone 4's recovery feature is still up, and thanks to the new disappearances, he's more attentive than ever. In fact, if I die, I could tell him it was one of you all along, couldn't I? She grinned. I hate that I predicted this. I hate that I predicted this. She grinned, taking another step forward. OJ subconsciously lowered the gun, realizing what she meant. It wouldn't be hard to convince him. Then they'll be off my tail. And even if you do get out, they'll be after you now. Checkmate. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Test Tube has been kind of a very good actor. So yeah, she's kind of good at acting. She is good at acting. She's good at hiding her emotions, and being, and that already hiding her true intentions. I mean, she's been putting on a mask this whole time for the past few months. So I think her acting skills are pretty good. He stood still, frozen. No, this isn't happening. He couldn't spend another second in this hellhole. All he had done was get everyone in trouble, and God knows what was going to happen now. He blinked back tears, the reality of it all slamming into him like a truck. It'll be generous and keep my offer. I'll be generous and keep my offer. Okay, I keep misreading things. I'm so sorry. You help me out with my studies, and I don't enroll any punishment for your behavior here. you'd be gaining things from it too. More freedom around the lab, knowledge, maybe even better living space. So, what do you say? Continue living as S3 or become OJ again and give me a helping hand? She put her hand around the almost mocking way, hand out in an almost mocking way. Trophy was still standing in the doorway, looking at OJ with some most sorrowful expression he could ever imagine on the guy. OJ lowered his gun. It wouldn't do any good with test tube, not now. All three ways he could go would just leave him for the worse. There was no good answer, no escape. Test tube knew how to get her way, and OJ couldn't deny that any longer. I want to be OJ again, he muttered quietly, his head hanging low. He wanted to cry, but nothing could come out. Great choice. Personally, I feel like that was the best one. Test tube cheered, taking her hand back, even though OJ hadn't so much as come near her. Now, come on. We'll go back to the procedure room. Patch up Pepper and we can begin tomorrow. Okay, ow. Okay, well, I hurt myself. Shoot. Okay, that hurt. Okay, I hurt myself, but that's fine. It wasn't on purpose. It was an accident. Who said I needed your help with that? OJ said, back up. Test tube paused, looking back at him with confusion. No, I'm putting everything back to how it was now. But I'd prefer to give you one last and first thank you for showing me how to do so. He lifted the gun up again, putting it against his own head. Test tube froze, face dropped. What's wrong? It's not like I'll die. Me phone 4 is on high alert, isn't he? I'll be back quickly. He wanted to laugh at her, the way her confidence faded, but he kept himself from doing so. I was just lying. This place is out of respawn grounds. It won't work. Test tube panicked, putting her hands up. Trophy, on the other hand, was smiling wide. You were lying. Yeah, sure you were lying. Yeah, why would you be confident? Why would you be confident and be like, he'd bring me back? So, yeah, test tube, you're screwed here. Yeah, okay, well, I don't know why we're just thinking of the idea of offing ourselves now. I still don't know why I made this stream for children if I'm gonna talk about these type of things. I really gotta fix that. I'm gonna fix that. I was just lying. Yeah, sure you were. You seem really sure of that, OJ remarked sarcastically. You're a terrible person. You might think you're fine because you've realized that by now, but if anything, that makes it worse. I'm OJ right now, and I always have been S3. S3 was just a delusion you made to justify your own actions. He never existed. You're a monster, a sociopath, who says she does things under science's name, even though she left that path for plain abuse long ago. Whatever comes next for you, you deserve every last second of it and more. She didn't respond for a good while. The silence treatment, huh? I guess that's my cue to leave, OJ said, hovering over the trigger. Wait! Test tube shouted, gaining OJ's attention once more. He turned over to her with a glare. If you do this, everyone else will be punished because of your actions. That doesn't make you any better than me, huh? Do you not have any sympathy for the people now? OJ stood still, his expression unflinching and determined. Just when I thought you couldn't have more audacity, he muttered to himself. The blood isn't on my hands, both metaphorically and literally. You're such a hypocrite. It's astounding. It's astounding. Stuttering. Bleh. Take a look at yourself for once, he insulted, though hesitant for a moment. He knew she'd stay true to her word. If he went through with this, the others would get hurt again. He might not witness it this time, but the incident would repeat itself. He turned towards Trophy, and in a much softer voice than before, he said, Please forgive me for this. Trophy didn't say anything, keeping his silence. He instead nodded in understanding. Not happily, but he understood OJ's decision. It was the most he could do. There was nothing else to say. OJ turned back to test tube, already preparing himself to fire. No matter how many times I say it, you can't get it past your thick skull. So let me say it one last time. You're a monster who puts people through unimaginable pain, simply because there is no for science at this point. You crossed the line as soon as Lightbulb entered the White Room. All there is and ever was you creating delusional excuses to justify torture. Karma isn't known for hitting soft, and I sure hope it stayed that way while I was gone, because I wouldn't care what happened to you after everything you've done to us. He hovered over the trigger again. He didn't want to die, but it was his last chance. Once he did it, there was one solid path in front of him, and this would be all over. Well, he wouldn't let it show. Everything would be said and done. Don't do this, Test Tube pleaded, but OJ had already made up his mind. Burn in hell, he said. I am going to predict this right now that there's no ammo in that trigger, is there? There's nothing in the trigger. There's not going to be anything in the trigger, and it's going to fail, and then she's going to be like, of course, ah ha ha. Or like the bullet doesn't actually break him, instead it makes him pass out or something, you know? Or doesn't really kill him, I guess. He said the last thing he saw was a panicked test tube, about to say something. He pressed down the trigger, a burst of pain going through the entire framework of his body, making him gasp. He didn't inhale dusty air of the laboratory, though. He didn't have to open his eyes to know where he was. He was exactly where he intended to be. What do you mean? What do you mean? What was that? Okay, Trophy's POV now, I think. Trophy stared in disbelief. Broken glass was literally across the floor. OJ actually did it. He had gotten out. This was all going to be over. He didn't say or do anything. Too stunned to speak. To think. Testube turned over to his face, his fist clenched. This is all your fault. You were the one who let him go. He felt like laughing, but something inside him stopped him. Exactly, he scoffed. That was the point. He could practically feel Test Tube's blood boil, her entire body tensing. Without the slightest bit of warning, she grabbed his wrist and began dragging him across the room. He stumbled forward. His ankle felt like it was killing him. He sucked it up, though, and followed her. Of course she wouldn't let this go without consequence, but he wouldn't care. It's not like it would be much longer anyways. That's what you think. How the fuck do we have 22... language. Oh, yeah. How the hey do we have 22 more chapters of this, if that's the case? Unless, like, let me is the ending being okay, they leave and they have happily ever after, because obviously that's not going to happen. They're full of trauma, and yeah. It felt like the walk back took longer. Maybe it did, or maybe the time just went slower in Trophy's head from the pain. He didn't pay attention during most of it, just glad everything was coming to a close. Eventually, he and Testu made it to one last locked door. She unlocked it, and Trophy felt his heart sink a little at the sight. He should have been expecting it. Of course, he'd be back here, but it felt disturbing looking at the yellowish room nonetheless. He walked in, though it was more like a limp with his ankle. He didn't bother to turn around. The doors were shut behind him, but noticed it was practically loud. The tones of the room almost mocked him with how well it matched his golden medal. He found a spot next to the wall and sat down, not wanting to push his ankle further. He was already bleeding, and the blood loss didn't pair well with his malnourishment. Or would that be more of the hydration thing? Either way, he didn't want to waste any more energy. His gaze wandered to the keep stuttering. His gaze wandered to the pale yellow wall in front of him. Not for any particular reason, he just didn't have anywhere else to look. The room was just as empty as he remembered it. He looked around the room to make sure that he wasn't missing anything. Oh, his handle was still in one of the corners. He cringed mentally, turning away immediately. There was also some bloodstains that hadn't washed out well from the carpet, but other than that, it was just how he remembered it. Not that was a good thing, though. Not that that was a good thing, though. It was still cold, and his entire body ached. No wonder, really. But at the moment, he didn't care. He couldn't. Instead of being upset about being in this very place, he would have done close to anything to avoid being in again. He smiled to himself. That smile turned into a soft chuckle. He let himself laugh for a moment, taking in the reality of it all. He and OJ had outsmarted test tube. They'd be out soon, all of them. No matter how many times he told himself, he could hardly believe this was close to being over. Well, we have 22 chapters left, so I'm not sure what you're talking about, Trophy. Ha! He probably looked psychotic right now. He caught his breath, leaning his back against the wall behind him. His smile faded as he also ascended where he was. While it wouldn't be long, supposedly, long was more of a subjective word. He told himself that they'd be here soon. Soon is a subjective word too, though. And in reality, he didn't know what it meant by it. He meant by it either. Oh my gosh, my phone is breaking right now. Okay, there we go. No, my phone. Okay. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. Okay. He told himself that they'd be here soon. Soon is a subjective word too, though. In reality, he didn't know what that meant either. Hopefully, time was on his side. Paper sat at the front desk. Office's desk. Okay, I keep forgetting words. Laptop open. He wouldn't lie. He wasn't doing any work. Instead, watching Desperate Housewives. That's fair. There wasn't any work to be done anyway. They had searched through the hotel, and all the hotel's paperwork had been finished. So he spent the small amount of free time he had watching one of his favorite shows. Everything has been so stressful lately. He tried to not put too much pressure on himself, but it was hard with everything happening. It had been a couple of weeks since Pepper disappeared, and still no lead. At least he was giving himself a break from it all for a moment. He leaned back in his chair, engrossed in the show. He felt his phone vibrate in his pocket. What pocket? He's a piece of paper, don't question it. Pulling it out. The ringtone was quiet since his volume was low, but it was easier to hear with the phone out. His eyes glanced at the name. II Headquarters. He felt his heart swirl in a slurry of emotions, not sure what this meant. He had an idea, but didn't want to jinx it. The phone buzzed one more time before he clicked accept. Hi, just checking. Who's behind the phone? Hello. This is Meepad, speaking. I'm speaking to paper, right? The slightly robotic voice of Meepad said. Yep, so, why'd you call? He asked, nervously fidgeting his hands. Ah, right. Me Phone 4 asked me to tell you about this. He said he got a notification for OJ's Jeff. So sorry for stuttering. Let me reread that. Ah, right. Me Phone 4 asked me to tell you about this. He said he got a notification for OJ's death. You made an agreement with him that he'd tell you about any death notifications he got, correct? Paper could have screamed. Normally, death was a terrible thing, or an inconvenience. But his heart leaped at the news, a smile creeping onto his mouth. Has he been revived yet? Paper asked ecstatically, maybe a little too ecstatically, as Meepad's next words sounded a little concerned for someone who couldn't feel emotion. Not yet. He said you'd bring up the search team coming over for a revival. Would you like to arrange a time to meet? I have me phone's schedule available. Yes, please, Paper practically yelled. He lowered his voice a moment after, embarrassed. Are you available on August 17th? Let me check, Meatpad said, going silent for a moment afterwards. It seems we are. Would 2 p.m. be a good time? Sounds good, Paper cheered. She cheered. All right then, I'll inform Me Phone 4 about the new meeting. See you then, Meatpad said. The call ended a couple seconds later. Paper smiled wildly, kicking his feet out of joy. After 4 months, he'd see OJ again, in just 2 days as well. He opened the search team's group chat, excitedly typing out the news. I'm gonna make a prediction. Test Tube's gonna go ahead and kill Me Phone. Okay, how are they gonna extend this story 22? I mean, if they do an aftermath of the people healing afterwards, and test tube like realizing not just realizing that she's just a shitty person, then that makes sense. But like 22 chapters still. 22. How are they going to extend this? I feel like that the only possible to extend this like 5 to 10 more chapters would be killing off Phone. That way they couldn't revive OJ. So I'm a little confuzzled about that. Okay. Well, there were a couple people who most likely wouldn't bother to check the notification. He was sure the word would get around regardless. He typed it out once more before setting his phone on the desk. He felt like crying. This was all going to be over soon. In just 2 days, all of this would end, and he couldn't be happier. Well, I swear, this is not going to end if you keep saying that it's going to be over. I feel like you're jinxing yourselves here. Besides, there's 22 more chapters. What the heck? What kind of hijinks or whatever the word is I'm looking for did you jinx yourselves upon? I'm doing something right now. Okay, I'm reading. This is what Paper typed in the group chat. Hello, everyone. After 4 months, MePhone 4 has informed us he's received. Well, not MePhone 4. MePhone 4 hasn't really. I mean, I guess his assistant did. So, can you give credit to MePad, please? Like, it wasn't just MePhone 4. He didn't call you personally. He told his assistant to, okay? So, please give credit to MePad. Thank you. Hello, everyone. After 4 months, MePhone 4 has informed us he's revived a death. He received. Oh my gosh, this cursive sucks. He received a death notification for OJ, and we've been invited over for his arrival. Revival. Oh my gosh, I keep mistaking words. Coming with us is optional, but for those who do, we're heading out on August 17th at 11:30 a.m. just to make sure we arrive in time. I'll make sure to inform everyone on how it went afterwards. In case you can't go, I'll do one last check-in with everyone the morning of the trip. Until then, prepare however you find necessary. What kind of crazy hijinks did you do? I don't even. Let me look up the definition of that word because I really think I'm not using the right definition. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Wait. What is a boisterous or rambunctious carrying ons? I think I was looking for hijink. Hijink? I don't know. Grammar confuses me. This is why I don't write. I like talking. I like talking. I don't. You should have seen my writing. Thank Grammarly for my proper grammar of the words and ideas in my head. Because I cannot type for shit. Grammar sucks. And I have to do it a lot for classes. And here we go. Chapter 34. Boarding. Log 11. August 17th. 3 a.m. Everything went so wrong. I thought my extra precautions were enough, but no, S3 is dead. Me phone 4 is going to revive him tomorrow. He'll tell, well, tomorrow, technically, it's nighttime, so I don't question AM and PM anyway. He'll tell everyone and this experiment will end. It'll be my final experiment. Trophy's back in his original room thanks to his involvement with OJ's death. I'm moving T4 to the main subject rooms soon. With his medication, of course. I'm also escorting Pepper back, although she has a new injury. I never got to complete the test. New injury. Did you give her brain damage? Tested, what the heck? You did kind of leave her on the operation table, though. For like 30 minutes, I would think. So. I don't want to let everything go to waste. Everything I worked so hard on. Everything I pushed myself to do. For answers. For science. No, this isn't for science anymore. Yeah, what is it for? Tell us, you psychopath. Not what I'm about to do next, anyways. What are you gonna do? What I'm doing next is for myself. It's selfish, sure, but this whole project was. And the selfishness isn't going to be for nothing. This project isn't going to end yet. Not if I have anything to say about it. Oh, what the hell are you gonna do, though, test tube? Really, I want to know what you're gonna do, because, like, there's 22 more chapters of this. What are you going to do? What is your plan? I swear, if you kill me phone 4, because that's the only thing I can think of. Like, what else could test tube do to prevent from getting caught as this psychopathic maniac? I really don't know. Okay? So, let's see. Pepper blinked, her eyes open, light consuming her vision. She let her eyes adjust to it. Looking around, God, I have to censor things. Shoot, gosh, she had a headache. I already swore like way too many times. I really gotta rename this stream because I set this stream to, yes, it's made for kids. Probably isn't. It's made for like teens. Adolescents. I don't know. What age is appropriate for cussing? Like the youngest, the minimum age for cussing. Like, for me, I would think like 12 or 10. I really don't know. Anyway, she tried to pull up her hand up to hold her forehead, but it rammed straight into metal, making her wake up. She looked down at her hands, still trapped on the table. She's still on that table. She's still on the operation chair, whatever the heck it's called. What the heck? Oh wait, I can't say that. Is heck isn't a bad word. I mean, you know what I meant instead of saying heck, but whatever. Anyway, test tube sat across from her, writing something on a laptop. She looked across the room to Pepper, finishing a couple more words before shutting the device. Pepper had an ungodly amount of questions, but couldn't ask anything as Test Tube sat up and walked over to her. She pressed a button on the table's control panel, and the binds came undone. Where were the others? Pepper looked around, but didn't see a single other object besides Test Tube and herself. She stepped down from the table, trying to observe the room. A little bit better now that she could see all of it. She couldn't see before? What? Or oh yeah, because she couldn't, because like when you're standing, you and she was forced to like kind of lay down, so her head was kind of like facing like straight. She couldn't move her like to look down or to the side or anything. So that makes sense. Um Test Tube didn't seem to have the time for it, grabbing Pepper's arm and dragging her to the door. Pepper stumbled behind but caught up after a moment. She would have loved to make a rude remark at the moment, but she obviously couldn't. Because Pepper, if we forgot, can't really speak because she got bandages over her mouth. Because of the incident that happened after she got kidnapped. That was too graphic to me because this is supposed to be kid friendly. PG-13. We're not giving ourselves a PG-13 rating. Are we giving ourselves a PG-13 rating? Because this is not. No, this comic is definitely not a PG-13 rating. Not comic, right? What do I call it? Story. What do we call stories on Wattpad? I think there's a word for it. Yeah, story. Would it be a story though? Would it? I don't know. Fan fiction? This is more like a. This is gory, so I don't know what you would label it. So the walk was a lot like the one to the room, but a different path. At least Pepper thought it was a different path. Her memory was a little fuzzy. She put her hand to her head now that she could, and was surprised to find a rough line wrapping around her head. She felt around it, almost forgetting to walk as she did. During the walk, she had a lot of time to think. What happened? Where were, okay, I need to reread this, so sorry. What had happened? Where were OJ and Trophy? What happened to her head? Why was Test Tube so irritated? So many questions, and not a way to ask a single one. Not to anyone who'd have the answers, at least. They stopped in front of a door, one that took the keys to unlock. Test Tube twisted the keys into the hole, swinging the door open. She dragged Pepper in with her, but made her stand to the side. T4, wake up, she said, walking over to the bed against the wall. She shook a lump in the blankets, and tissues slowly peeked out from under the covers. We're going to a different room. Tissues looked confused, but nodded anyway. She undid the bracelets around his wrists and backed away for a moment, letting him slide out of bed. He grabbed a container of pills from the bedside table and walked over towards Pepper. He didn't even try to hide the look of surprise on his face as he caught sight of her injuries. Yeah. I could picture it. Someone really gotta. I want someone to do visuals for this, honestly. That would look sick. Or like reference drawings or something. I'm sure there probably is like a few, but like I don't want to get spoiled, so I'll wait. My goal is to finish this by this month, but you know how things get. By this month kind of seems impossible because next week I don't stream at all, I think, because schedule's gonna be a little bit wonky, to say the least. They left as quickly as they came, for whatever reason. Test Tube was in a hurry, speed walking through the halls. Tissues had a bit of a struggle keeping up, but managed. Can you slow down a little? I can't keep up, Tissues asked. Pepper couldn't help but notice how his voice was wasn't as nasally. Is that how you pronounce it? Nasally, as she remembered. No, Test Tube said bluntly, swiping her card on another door before walking in. She refused to talk about it after that, rushing through the laboratory. After a couple minutes, not having taken long due to the hurrying, they reached to what Pepper could only assume was their final destination for the day. Hall 17. She didn't want to be back there after being out, but the universe didn't agree with her. She walked in under the guidance of test tube. It's kind of cramped in here, Tissues complained, his shape making it hard to walk through. That doesn't matter. You won't be in here for long, Test Tube said, unlocking one of the doors. The door swung open with a bit of a creak. Go in. Tissues complied easily, walking into the open door to the white room. The door closed and locked behind him, though Pepper had a strong feeling she'd see him again in a moment. It looked like she was right as Test Tube walked to the door right next to it, unlocking it as well. Pepper didn't need to be instructed, walking in with an untold command. The door unlocked behind her as well. Soap sat on the edge of the bed, looking up from her journal. What is this place? Tissues asked from behind the window, looking around. Is this where you guys have been? No one responded. Lightbulb and Soap kept their habit of waiting until Test Tube was out of the hall completely to talk, and Pepper couldn't make a sound. After a minute or so, Lightbulb spoke up. Why is she doing this so late? She looked up at the clock. 3 in the morning. Geez, can I go back to sleep? No one's stopping you, Soap said, also sounded a bit tired. All right, good night then. Lightbulb still has her spark, but it's been damaged. Okay. Laying back down on her bed, tell me what happened in the morning. She slipped out of consciousness before immediately leaving 3 people in the room. So, hi, and welcome back, Pepper, Soap said, rubbing her eyes. So, hi, and welcome back, Pepper, Soap said, rubbing her eyes. You've been down here for a month, and I never saw you, Tissues. How come? I was in my own room, Tissues said drowsily, taking his seat on the bed across from Lightbulb's. This place looks weird. Yeah, Soap agreed. I know this might be a bit personal, and you don't have to answer it, but what did she do to you? Tissues paused. Light bulb or test tube? Why would you say light bulb or test? Or what did light bulb do to you? What did light bulb? Why would you assume that's what she was asking? Why did I don't know. Okay, well, I guess light bulb was his roommate for like the after she kind of stabbed herself. So um and then she gave him the sunset. Did he leave the sunset? I think he left the photo in the room. Dang it. Dang it, their bond is gonna break. I don't think they ever had a good bond, honestly, but yeah. Test tube. Oh, she said she was trying to cure me or something, and I think it's actually working, Tissues said cheerfully, but his mood dropped almost immediately after. That's not what she did to you guys, though, was it? Pepper nodded, jealousy all over her face. She crossed her arms, sitting next to Soap. Pepper, don't. It's not Tissues' fault. He just happened to get lucky. Happened to get lucky. Happened to get lucky. Yeah. I'm processing that. Okay. Soap said, placing a hand delicately on Pepper's shoulder. She let out a shaky breath, although she didn't give the nicest look back to Soap. She uncrossed her arms and put them at her sides instead. Well, what happened to you guys? If you don't mind me asking, Tissues asked, already grabbing a blanket and wrapping himself in it. It's a long story, Soap said, yawning. Maybe it should wait for tomorrow. I think we're all tired. Both parties seem to agree. So, is this good night then? Pretty much, Soap said, laying down close to the wall. Pepper stood up and turned the lights off before walking back over, sliding into the covers beside Soap. They're sharing a bed? Rare pair, new rare. I'm gonna call it a rare pair now. New rare pair. Pepper and Soap. What do you think? That's a rare pair? Yeah, it is a rare pair. Rare. I don't think I'm pronouncing it right, but whatever. My accent's kind of really I don't even know what my accent is. I don't think I have one. Actually, I technically do have one. I don't care. Anyway, I'm just reading. The bed wasn't too big, but they both seemed to make it work. Tissues carefully walked over to the light switch in the white room, turning it off as well. There was still a dim light from outside the hall, which he used to guide back to the bed. He made himself comfortable, pulling the covers over himself. He couldn't get himself to fall asleep. He couldn't get the state of the other objects in the lab out of his head. He knew they weren't doing well from the short conversations he would have with Lightbulb while she was still in the room next door, but this bad? They all seemed so hurt, damaged, and he was perfectly fine, if not better than before. He really had gotten lucky, hadn't he? Have you? Tissues, don't jinx yourself. We don't need you to be tortured as well. Please. Please, Tissues. It invoked a strange, unfamiliar emotion in him. Something close to guilt, but not quite. Regret? No. Because what did he have to regret? He hadn't done anything wrong, or maybe it was doing nothing he regretted. But what could he have done? He passed it off as a melancholy... Words suck. Melancholy. If you haven't if you haven't noticed yet, I have this thing called stuttering. Yeah. Melancholy. How many times have I done this? How many times have I tried pronouncing a word? I feel like this has been like a routine now. I am so sorry. Melancholy feeling. It took him a while. With every racing through, echoing through his mind over and over, but he drifted off to sleep. He'd figure it all out in tomorrow, once he was rested again. The entire hotel was bustling with excitement. Okay, test tube, you still haven't brought out your plan. What is it? Girly, tell us. I'm calling you Girly today for the exception. The exception being what? I don't know. Anyway, people were running around, some going up to their rooms to grab their bags, and others going back down with briefcases and backpacks. They're moving out? Why would they? Are they gonna, what? Briefcases and backpacks? Briefcases. I like how they use briefcases instead of suitcases, because suitcase is a character. Is that the reason, or is a briefcase? Yeah, because a briefcase and a suitcase are two different things. Two completely different things, I think. Almost everyone had wanted to go, being that they had been on complete lockdown for a month. Some of them weren't even going for OJ, but for other activities. What other activities are there? This is an investigation. What else can you do other than go? Oh yeah, because this is like, because they are going to headquarters, so that's why. They just want to do other activities when they're the person who has bought the freaking hotel they're living in literally died and has been missing for a few months, and they aren't going for them, but instead going to... What are they going to do? What else is there to do at II headquarters? I bet they're just going to have them sit in the waiting room or something. Paper didn't blame them, and even decided to stretch their visit away from the island to go for a couple days. Where are you going to stay? This is II headquarters. Sure, Mifun could spawn in anything, so I guess he could spawn in a few cabins or something for you guys to sleep in. But, like, why would you want to stay there? You could just bring him back. I don't get it. I mean, it doesn't. It's like the most hours you should keep someone for an interrogation and checking on them. You should just let the authorities handle this. Like what they did the night Pepper disappeared was clean up the freaking evidence. They cleaned up the freaking evidence. They didn't call the cops. Instead, they just cleaned up the evidence. The evidence. They didn't even. They are not professionals. They should leave it to the professionals. Oh my gosh, what is this logic? My voice is starting to die, so let me read this last chapter and then I will end this. Actually, let me get some water. Because I don't want to start coughing while trying to read. Okay, this is the closest thing I found to water, so. It's the same thing. It's just sparkling water. Okay. Thanks for agreeing to stay back and take care of the hotel, Pickle, Paper said, throwing his own bag over his shoulder. What shoulder? He's a piece of paper. I don't get it. Oh, wait. He does have shoulders. But even because his arm, yeah, because. Well, he has shoulders. Okay, so they have shoulders, but they. I'm not questioning it. Nope, I'm done questioning it. I'm done. Nope, we're not questioning it. Nope. I really appreciate it. Really. It's no big deal, Pickle assured him, sitting on the couch. I think everyone's too hyped up about this trip. There's not anything I want to do there anyways. Besides, maybe check out a shop or two. A shop? There's shops at II headquarters? Or is II headquarters just in the middle of a freaking mall or something? Like, I need visuals to understand this, really. Okay? But Knife said he'd video call me so I could check out what they have, so I'm not missing out on too much. Besides, some people had to stay back. I wasn't going to leave 2 people alone to deal with this giant hotel. 2 people. Who are the other 2 people? Okay, so it's Pickle, and I have no clue who else is going. I really don't. Paper smiled, nodding. Pickle, as well as a couple of others, agreed to stay back. Okay, well, you said 2 people. What do you mean, couple of others? Can you just say 2 other people? Pickle said himself. 2 people. 2 people. Who wants to? Probably Salt. Actually, yeah, because she doesn't have her bestie anymore. She's a lonely. She's lonely. She got no one. So, probably Salt. Okay, let me read. While the others headed out, it felt weird going away from home after so long. He waved one last goodbye to Pickle, walking out of the building. I'm just realizing this. So if they're staying at II headquarters, I'm still on this, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not continuing this. I'm just theorizing and thinking of what the heck Test Tube's going to do. What is she going to do? I am so confused. Okay, they're all leaving the hotel. She still has everyone down in her vending machine thing. She has a plan. A few people still stay back at Hotel OJ. The rest of them are at II headquarters or wherever the heck they're talking about. I'm just trying to think of what the heck the plan is. He took a breath of fresh air. The scent of Petric. I am not gonna try to pronounce this word. I am done stuttering. Filling his nose. He had been a bit worried when it began raining yesterday, but the sky today was clear, minus a few lingering white clouds, and the sun. Being inside for so long made you forget all the nice things about nature. He put on the most determined face she could muster and practically marched towards the island's docks. I'm sorry, she face she could muster. Did they keep I bet this is there's a bunch of like mispronouns. The pronouns make me confused. I don't know if they're talking about another person. No, they're talking about paper. Here it look at this. Look at this. Wait. Okay. So it says they keep doing it. He put on the most determined face she could. Maybe it's a headcanon? I don't know. After a quick stroll to the edge of the island, he arrived at where the boat was. It would be a bit crowded since it was almost everyone on the island. Oh, right, because it is in a cloud. That would make sense. But he was sure they'd all fit. A couple of more hasty objects had already arrived with their bags and were waiting in front. Paper walked forward and onto the boat, looking back at everyone else. Hello, everybody. We'll be boarding shortly. Oh, that's why it's called boarding. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. So please, be patient. Feel free to chat while we wait, he announced, smiling wide. He walked further into the boat, leaving those waiting to their own. He had to check up on a couple things, but after he knew it was safe, he'd let everybody on. They wouldn't set off for sail immediately, though, just in case anybody, sorry, was a bit late or missed some instructions. He had never actually operated a boat before. This was going to be a long ride. No wonder you guys wanted to leave, like, so 30 minutes, and then 3 hours and 30 minutes beforehand. Already, one last check. Everybody off the boat was just helping with boarding and will be staying back at the hotel. Paper asked through the speakerphone. Everybody on the ground nodded. Great. Well, with that, we will now begin. Wait, Paper jumped, turning towards the new voice. Fan ran over to the dock, carrying a bag behind him. He caught his breath, putting his hands up. Sorry, I got caught up with something. I like to board. Paper backed away from the entrance, trying to hide his slight annoyance with the late arrival. Of course, Fan is the last one. Ah, Fan, what are we gonna do with you? Well, it's a good thing you caught us in time. We were about to take off. Yep, Fan said, stepping onto the boat. He dragged his bag behind him, still slightly out of breath. He wasn't exactly the athletic type. After all, as he walked further into the boat, he heard one last call behind him. All right, I'm going to check one final time. Does anyone else wish to board? He ignored it, looking for a certain somebody. Now where was... Hey, Fan, looking for me? Said a voice behind him. He flinched, spinning around. Ah, there you are. You scared me. Ha. It's gonna be test tube. She's gonna kill me, phone. That's it. It makes sense. It's all coming together now. It all makes sense. I just got on, almost missed the boat. Who could have guessed packing would be so hard? I did tell you to pack early, they ridiculed, or maybe it's paintbrush? I don't know anymore. But laughing alongside him, they towered over a Fan. Yeah, it's paintbrush. Dang it. kind of. I don't care. Okay, I just want and look. I switch back and forth. Honestly, you can. It's like a love-hate relationship with the villain every time, but you actually deeply hate them when they do something fucked up. Like Test Tube, for example, or not like Fanon in this, but like one is a better example. One from Teapot, like one slash Cobbs, but like there's a difference between like it's how do I describe it? It's like you love hating them. Like, oh my gosh, I hate you so much. Much. Keep being the menace you are. Because they are just that good at being evil. You know? I did tell you to pet Curly, they ridiculed, but were laughing alongside him. They towered over Fan, but they had grown close enough over the course of the show for him to not feel threatened by the height difference. Yeah, you did. That's a nice jacket. When did you get it? He asked, poking at the jacket they wore. They both began walking around the boat as they chatted. Thank you. I made it myself. Actually, I'm quite proud of how it turned out, they said, tugging at the inside. I also made some parts of this bag. It was sort of small, but I liked the design, so I upsized it. Hey, no need to brag, Fan joked. Are you sure you didn't upscale too much, though? It's ginormous. Well, yeah, but I have my hobbies, they argued. I mean, I don't think you're one to speak with the size of your bag. Come on, I didn't know what to expect. I barely travel anywhere, anyways. I offered to help you pack your bag, so you can only blame yourself. Van opened his mouth to argue back, but closed it after failing to find a good argument. They both broke out into soft laughter a couple seconds later. Well, they said, changing the topic, guess who I brought along? I don't know. Baxter. They brought Baxter. Hurry up and call them Paintbrush, because I know this is Paintbrush. Well, they said, changing the topic, guess who I brought along? I don't know. I don't even know who's all on the ship. Speaking of which, when are we taking off? I'm bored already. Soon, Fan, soon, they said. They pulled their bag in front of them, digging through it. But to answer my own question, they pulled out a fairly small travel cage. Inside the cage was a medium-sized red crab, but Fan immediately knew his name by memory. Baxter! Baxter! The goat. We haven't seen Baxter. That's who we were missing. And we were missing them. We missed Baxter. Baxter wasn't in, or was he? I don't remember. Baxter was not in season 4. The season 4 episode 1. Where was Baxter? Someone has to ask where Baxter was during all of this. Where was Baxter? I swear, if I missed Baxter, I'm gonna literally rewatch that episode until I find Baxter. Yep, they said he doesn't get out much, so may as well bring him out to his home, the ocean, while we still can. Makes sense. I thought Paintbrush was taking care of him, though. Who is this? Who is this? This isn't Paintbrush! What the heck? What? Oh, they are. They just let me bring him with me when I told them I was going on the trip, they explained, putting their bag back behind themselves. Of course, they did this. They really fooled me. Fan smiled, looking up at his friend. Wow, well, that's awfully kind of you, Test Tube. Design. The height difference. There's not that much of a height difference, though. Is there? Like, only Test Tube is only like... I sure there is a little bit of a height difference, but the height difference isn't really that... They called it a huge height difference. I mean, what? They really fooled me. I really thought this was going to be paintbrush. I mean, why the Baxter. Yeah, with the Baxter thing as well, you would have thought it was paintbrush, but no. Let me reread this last part because this was really good. Oh, it tricked me. It made me think it was test tube, and then or I originally thought, okay, it's test tube. But then the well writing in this, that then they made me think, oh, it isn't. It's paintbrush. And then I was like, ah, you got me. Ah, I wish I didn't fall for it. Good. Makes sense. I thought paintbrush was taking care of him, though. Oh, they are. They just let me bring him along when I told them I was going on the trip, they explained, putting their bag behind themselves. This is good writing, okay? I really did think it was going to be paintbrush. I was like, oh, paintbrush. But then it was like, oh, they tricked me. Okay. I don't know if I should continue reading or not. I'll make a poll. How do I make a poll? How do I do this? Can I not make a poll in this thing? I can't make a poll? Are you okay? I'm making a community post. Okay, oh, it just disconnected me. Okay. Well, I don't know. I really gotta. I'm gonna go back and restream this. That way I could actually edit this. I'm gonna edit this and then I'm gonna go back live. So, I'll be right back.